On this week's edition of the Overtime, we're taking a look at Coconino High's softball season. Then a preview of NAU football's upcoming season as they start spring football. Finally, we have some exciting commentary on March Madness and what to expect in the final weeks of the notable tournament. All that and more right here on this edition of the Overtime. Good evening and welcome back to this week's edition of the Overtime. I'm your host, Jess Garcia, and I'm joined by Mckaela Aiton. Mckaela, thank you so much for hosting with me today. There are so many exciting things to cover and a lot to catch up on from the break.
We do, Jess. So much is happening in the community with spring sports starting back up.
That's right, Mckaela. NAU football is back on the field for some off-season practice and spring ball as they gear up for the fall.
Sports reporter Brooklyn Grizel is in the studio to tell us more about the upcoming season.
Thanks, Mckaela. Lumberjack football is back in business. With massive defensive rebuild headed by the hiring of new defensive coordinator Trent Green, this upcoming season will look very different from seasons past, especially on the O-line. Now, one thing that will stay constant is now senior quarterback Ty Pennington returning for his final season as a Lumberjack. Despite the team's failure to make the playoffs last year, Pennington evidently believes his work as a Lumberjack is not yet done. Head coach Brian Wright speaks about Pennington and his goals for his last season.
He wants to help lead this program into a new stage of success, and feels like that we as a team fell short, and we did last year.
Spring ball started back up today as the Lumberjacks welcome all the fresh faces that have transferred in this semester. NAU's transfer class currently ranks number 3 in the FCS, hopefully resulting in a successful fall next year. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Brooklyn. Coach Wright has made it a constant goal to end his season with some rings to bring back to Flagstaff. With that being said, we're seeing a lot of new faces come to the team, along with many who entered the transfer portal. As we get closer to summer training camp and the upcoming season, it'll be exciting to see how the Lumberjacks will perform this season.
Agree. With all these new faces, it really feels like a reset for the program. With that, it'll be especially important to have a strong leadership foundation, particularly with the new interim AD coming in.
That's right, Mckaela. NAU recently announced a new interim athletic director, Tanya Vogel, who discussed her goals and intentions in the short time she'll be here. Let's take a look.
Without any ulterior motives, other than, like we said, I just want to figure out what's right for NAU athletics, for the entire university community, and let's work really hard together to get you the right next permanent AD.
During her time as interim AD, she's made it very clear she wants to help President Cruz Rivera find a candidate for the position while also ensuring they find a perfect fit for both athletes and coaches. She expects to be here in Flagstaff and find a new athletic director no later than the end of summer.
It sounds like Tanya Vogel's really focused on keeping things stable during this transition while they search for that long-term fit. And with that, the timeline set for the end of the summer, it's definitely a big moment for the future of NAU athletics.
Now, Mckaela, I just have to ask, did you hear the news about Carson Tout?
Jess, I have, and it makes sense because Carson Tout has the build and athleticism that NFL teams are looking for in a tight end. The former Lumberjack will attempt to transition to the position despite never playing football before. The unique move has sparked plenty of reaction from fans online, and it will be interesting to see how he adapts from the court to the field.
It's so crazy to think that one of our own basketball alumni is switching over to a sport we've never seen him play yet. Now that I think about it, maybe Diego Campesano should try his hand at the NFL draft next month.
Now that would be interesting. We have to take a quick break coming up, but soon Coconino softball is heating up at the right time. We'll show you how the Panthers are making noise this season. Stay with us.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush over here. We should probably move the bonfire over there.
I'm guessing Smokey liked that idea.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here.
Wait.
What?
I can't drive.
Why?
My. Oh.
Welcome back. It's been a strong start to the season for Coconino varsity softball. The Panthers hold an 11-3 overall record and opened regional play 2-0 this past Tuesday. Here's a closer look at the defending 4A state champions' first half of the season. The Panthers hosted their first home game on March 3rd, entering with a 4-1 record. In their matchup against Paradise Honors, Coconino struggled to get on base, with only sophomores Joy Schaefer and Emma Kennelly recording hits. The loss broke a 13-game home win streak and marked the first time this season the Panthers were unable to get on the board. Senior third baseman Caitlin Yazzie says the loss helped the team identify what they need to work on moving forward.
It definitely, since it's like beginning of the season, it definitely helps me know what I need to work on for the rest of the season and what I need to work on during practice so I can trust it during the game time.
Over the next few weeks, the Panthers continued non-conference and tournament play, improving to 9-3 before opening Grand Canyon Region play at Lee Williams on March 17th. With 43 plate appearances and a 34% scoring rate, the Panthers dominated their regional opener, winning 15-3. They followed that up with a 10-0 shutout win at home this past Friday. Junior Savannah Waters played a key role, going 2 for 3 with a grand slam in her first at-bat, along with a double and 2 RBIs.
Just being aggressive, because I knew what she had. We played them on Tuesday, and she pitched to us, and she was pitching straight down the middle, so I was just looking for that.
For this team, it's about more than just putting runs on the board. Behind the plate, the Panthers community shows up and brings the energy every time. After improving to 2-0 in regional play, the team hosted a hit-a-thon fundraiser with all proceeds going to the Dawson Merrick Children's Foundation. The event featured raffles, games, and a movie, creating a memorable night at the ballpark. Head coach Kimberly Dennis says the community support inspires her team.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really neat. Our Booster Club did a great thing and just wanted to support our girls and get just the community involved, and it's awesome. I mean, look at all these young softball athletes out here playing and just having fun together, and we couldn't ask for some better weather.
With a strong start to the season and momentum building in regional play, the Panthers are showing no signs of slowing down.
Now, as we get into the season, do you think that Coconino will be able to step up to the plate this season and defend their title?
Absolutely. Coconino has the talent and the experience to make another strong run. The Panthers are back on the road tomorrow afternoon to take on the Prescott Badgers as regional play continues.
Now, moving on to the racetracks, some of our sports reporters went to the Phoenix Raceway over spring break. Sports reporter Reese Clark has the recap.
2 series, 1 track. For the first time ever, Phoenix Raceway hosted both IndyCar and NASCAR, making Phoenix the center of the racing world.
Making its first appearance in Phoenix since 2018, IndyCar kicked off the racing weekend on Saturday. The Good Ranchers 250 consisted of 250 laps around the 1-mile oval track. 2-time series champion Joseph Newgarden closed down and passed leader Kyle Kirkwood with just 7 laps remaining to win the series.
I was not a believer midway through the race, but when I needed that car to be good, it was really good. I mean, it's not like I was doing something magical. It was right where I needed it to be.
Newgarden is one of the best at navigating traffic on short oval tracks and proved that on Saturday. His decision-making sets him apart from other racers.
We just stuck to our plan. We knew what we were going to do as far as our process going into the race, and I think we stayed true to that, and we made the right calls and had the right stops, right support, and we stuck with it, and we executed at the end.
The champion's Team Penske teammate David Malukas took third. He led 73 out of the 250 laps, the most of any other racer. Second place went to Kyle Kirkwood, who led for 47 laps. This is the first time both IndyCar and NASCAR have been hosted together. Kirkwood said much of his strategy came from watching the NASCAR drivers earlier in the weekend.
When I was watching some of the NASCARs go around here, I'm like, oh yeah, they're running up high, like I'm going to try that out, which probably just makes it a little bit more inviting for us IndyCar drivers, at least for myself. I can't speak for everybody.
Drivers, start your engine!
Sunday was all things NASCAR. The Straight Talk Wireless 500 consisted of 312 laps around the track. With just 10 laps remaining, Ryan Blaney took the lead and was named the Cup Series champion.
Day of perseverance, that's for sure. Just, really fast early, was able to win the stage and then have, our issue on pit road and, kind of battle back from that, and then had another one. And, battled back from that one too, and we're able to overcome.
Blaney's win solidified an incredible weekend for Team Penske. They walked away with 2 victories in the Desert Double, with Newgarden taking the IndyCar race and Blaney taking the Cup Series. Blaney said he felt pressure to sweep the weekend.
Joseph put the pressure on us yesterday, and he let us know that at our Penske dinner last night. He said this weekend is going to be absolutely ruined if you guys don't do it on Sunday. So he put the pressure on us, so I was happy to do it today.
Reese Clark, and AZ Sports.
Wow, Jess, I'll have to go there someday, but I'll make sure to bring some headphones.
I agree. The energy there just seems electric. When we return from break, our very own sports reporters are going to dive into March Madness and what we can expect in the coming weeks of the NCAA tournament. Stick with us.
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Welcome back. Now, March Madness is in full swing, and we've seen the bracket go from 68 teams down to the Sweet 16. Sports reporters Brian Adams and Austin Williams have everything you need to know about what to expect for the rest of the tournament.
Thanks, Jess. It has been an exciting and unforgettable March Madness, and we are down to 16 teams. Austin, what has been your favorite moment of the tournament so far?
Man, I'd say that St. John's buzzer beater against Kansas. It moved them into the Sweet 16, and now they'll face the #1 overall seed, and that's going to be Duke. But St. John's, Rick Pitino getting it done, moving his team to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, and excitingly for Duke, they have never won a national championship without beating St. John's along the way. For me personally, this tournament has been pretty chalky. A lot of the higher seeds winning. One of the lower seeds that did happen to win, though, was Texas over here against Purdue. Texas, I don't think many people expected them. They came from the first 4. Now they're kind of making a run of their own. Sean Miller had success at his former school at U of A. But, out of all the underdogs we've had, that's kind of been the only one. And that's not really, I would say, an underdog. We know Texas are an SEC school. They've had success in the past. But about all these matchups now, what is one you're really looking forward to?
I'm actually kind of looking forward to this one right here. Arizona versus Arkansas. Arizona, they've recently struggled getting past the Sweet 16. Can they get past the Elite 8? They have one of the best teams in the nation, but Calipari's been there before, and this is his first time with Arkansas going this far in the tournament, so it's going to be quite an interesting match.
Yep, I totally agree, and the young guard for Arkansas, Darius Acuff, he's going to have to lead the way for them. That is where I think I'm most excited for the matchup between Brandon Burries and Acuff in this game. For me personally, I'm really excited for Iowa and Nebraska here. Those are two teams that we do never expect to be this far in the NCAA tournament. I mean, we've had Indiana now win the national championship in football, and we have these two teams playing for a spot in the Elite 8. It has been a weird year in sports, and this just continues it. And for Iowa, a team that is known to be defensive. I thought when they played Florida that Florida would kind of manhandle them and just kind of run up the score, but that is not what happened. But in that game, what would you kind of expect from both teams?
Wow, I think it's hard to think because I was coming off such a high with that win against Florida. But Nebraska, their start to the season, they could do that again right here in March. And so far they are, and all you have to do is win 7 games in a row. So I think Nebraska could pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, and also just as in general of the tournament, aside from this east side of the bracket over here, we have a chance to see 3 Big 12 teams be in the Final Four. I don't know when last time a conference had that many teams in the Final Four, but I would imagine it's been a long time.
I think it was the Big East in like the 80s.
That would make a lot of sense. But if you had to pick one team to win the title this year, who would it be?
I'd have to go with Michigan. I mean, they are so strong offensively. They put up 100 points in their first matchup, put up, 96 against St. Louis, who's a very good team. And now they're playing Alabama. I think they have a real shot going all the way, getting a title. First one since 96.
Yeah, no, I think they have all these one seeds have a fantastic chance. Obviously, from Florida, we know what happened to them. For me personally, I think Houston finally gets the redemption. Last year, they had to come back in the Final Four to beat Duke, and then you get to the championship game, and they had it and just lost in the final seconds. Never got a shot off, and that's always just leaves a bitter taste in your mouth. So I think Kelvin Sampson and company will try to get back to the championship game and finally finish the job this year. But you know what? We're gonna have to see what happens in the Sweet 16. Jess, and then I'll be back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Austin and Brian. I'll be glued to my TV for the next few weeks. Next weekend, some of our fellow sports reporters will be taking the court in Phoenix, covering the women's Final Four. I'm going to need the same recap next week.
Me too, Jess. It'll be the first time that the women's Final Four is in Arizona, and we'll have all the coverage right here on the Overtime. But for now, that's all the sports we have for you tonight.
As always, thank you so much for tuning in, and a special thank you to our very own sports reporters, Brooklyn Grizel, Reese Clark, Austin Williams, and Brian Adams. Lastly, but certainly not least, Mckaela, thank you so much for co-hosting with me tonight. I'm Jesslyn Garcia, and we'll see you next week for the next edition of The Overtime.